everyone, welcome to Into the 99, where we have 99 cards, cause Commander's number one. I'm one of your hosts, Sherman.
I'm Hope.
And I'm Daniel.
And today's topic is a fun one. At least I like to believe it's a fun one.
I agree.
We're talking group hug, guys.
Group hug. Oh, where we love everyone, but we secretly are gonna win.
The nicest form of Commander.
So you say. I don't know. When I play it, people don't like it. So, yeah.
I don't know how you're playing group hug, man. How hard are you hugging?
Really hard. Really, really hard. But we're going to be talking about group hug today because, let's face it, all commanders eventually want to try to make one. And some people do well. Other people, like me, really, really, really suck. So, let's start off with the purpose of a group hug deck.
Yeah, what it is, why you'd build one.
Well, there's so many different reasons why. Like, some people just like to see other decks go off, you know. They like to see people enjoy themselves. And with that, like, when you're playing a group hug deck, there's a little bit less pressure to win. Mm-hmm. So, but it doesn't mean that you cannot win. I've seen group hug decks win. So, but
it's just kind of a secondary objective. The point of group hug when you're really going off is to see everybody else actually get to run their decks and cards that maybe wouldn't come out until turn 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 even.
And it honestly doesn't feel bad to lose in a group hug.
No.
Nah.
You've been everybody's best friend.
For at least the first few turns.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when they triple everyone's mana, you're like, why did you do that? That guy has Zakama. Don't. Yeah. Don't, please. But yeah, like group hug decks in general, you know, you wanna help everyone else, you know, go through their deck and see them work. Mm-hmm. So, and that is the biggest purpose of a group hug deck. And like we said, it doesn't mean you can't win. There are many ways to win, because a lot of times with group hug, you kind of sneak in the win somehow.
Yeah, you win kind of from behind.
Yeah, people sort of leave you alone because you're not hurting them, you're not a threat to them, you're an asset to them.
Yeah, you're an ally.
Yeah, so they don't even really consider the board state that you're trying to build.
So, before we, build a group hug deck, there are a few things to consider. So, one of them is, are you okay with your opponent's decks going off? Because let's face it, you're a group hug, you're going to enable everyone else. If you don't like seeing other people's decks go off, what's the point of building a group hug?
Yeah.
So it's like if I don't like seeing that, it's like, okay, I'm going to triple everyone's mana. Uh-oh. But I don't want to see any of them do anything. I just want to gain the benefit. That's it. Well, then don't play group hug.
Don't play group hug. You're doing it wrong if you don't want to see your opponents go off also. This is to get everybody really ramped up and going.
That's one of the reasons I actually like group hugs so much. I love seeing those big, big plays. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of games, they don't get late enough for somebody to really take full advantage of it. But if somebody can get something out that they just normally, maybe in their deck, have trouble playing, or a combo they've never actually managed to get off because it's too mana intensive or the meta's too competitive, it's really, really exciting to see people actually get to sneak those things in, have fun. Everyone gets to have a really good time when you play with a group hug deck, and that's kind of the reason I like it so much. You can see those huge, huge explosive plays that are the ones everyone remembers from a game.
Yeah. Or even if having larger creatures, larger CMC spells. For example, I know that one game I was playing a group hug deck, not playing a group hug deck, mind you, but somebody else was, and I was able to get off a Finale of Devastation and a huge dinosaur and have this enormous play that probably, in one turn, that was 20 plus mana that never would have happened otherwise.
Oh, no. See, like when I play group hug or someone plays group hug, I like it, but at the same time, you have to be prepared to have those complicated board states. Because let's face it, okay, someone plays group hug, everyone starts going crazy, the stack gets outrageous. It's like you're at a buffet and you can't finish it. Okay, you just
on stacks.
Yeah, you brought in like 4 different plates of food, and it's like, I gotta get through this, and it's just so complicated. Like, where do I start? How do I go through this? By the time I get to my dessert, it's already melted. Poor ice cream. I miss you, ice cream.
Always start with soup, Sherman.
Soup? That fills you up. No, gotta go for the meat. Meat.
That is the only way to do anything.
Okay, on that note, what else should we consider? Now, first off, if you don't care about your opponent's decks going off, fine. There's a few other things to consider. Another one is when you tend to beat the group hug deck, do you want to police the board or just let people's decks work? Because let's face it, if you're a group hug deck, a lot of people want to see all the decks work. But at the same time, some people get a little bit out of control. So it sometimes comes down to the person that's running the group hug deck to police everything.
To rein everybody back in.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So, and that's the thing. Like, are you okay with doing that? Do you want to use your resources for that? Or are you going to try to get someone else to do that for you? And let's face it, if you get someone else to do that or you're doing it, are you really a group hug? Are you not? Huge controversy.
We get into some more semantics about the logistics of group hug.
Yeah, but at the same time, group hug players tend to want to see everyone go off and see how far they can push everyone. How far they can push the deck, right? Yeah, but sometimes you have to,
ring it in.
Yeah, ring it in for some of the players and everything. So one of the things is, do you want to police the board or just let other people's decks just go nuts?
Of course. So you might be better off at aligning with somebody playing black or red or white to police the board for you, where you're still not putting a target on your own back.
Exactly. So, and then, are you okay with not winning as often as your other decks? Well, let's face it. When we play Commander, we like to win. People always like to win.
It's a game after all.
It is a game, but because you're playing Group Hug, you're enabling other people's decks, and therefore, it's going to be really, really, really hard for you to win because you're literally saying, hey guys, here's all this free mana, free card draw, free whatever,
You want some life? I've got some life.
Oh, you got some life? Yeah. Do we have to go to the back alley and trade mana for it? That's what happens though. With group hug decks, you can win, but your winning percentage is a little bit lower because you're enabling everyone else. Mm-hmm. So if you're okay with these things, I say do it. Build a group hug deck.
Build group deck.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. So if everything's okay, let's talk about some of the commanders you tend to see in group hug decks. Now, most commanders, you can probably use any commander and build a group hug deck, but there's certain ones that are better than others because these commanders tend to let all players benefit, and that's the key thing. Everyone's benefit from the commander, not just you. Okay.
Whether it's everybody gets draw, everybody gets mana, whatever it might be.
Yeah. So, some of the more famous ones are Feldogriff,
Kianos.
Yeah. Braids, Conjure, Adept.
Selvala.
Yeah. The list goes on and on and on, But like I said, you can pretty much pick any commander and you can manipulate it to be a group hug deck. But these ones are the most common because you give things away or you let other people draw or you give away free mana, stuff like that.
Yeah, they have something built right into the kit to make it work.
Yeah.
So
there's a benefit right off the board.
Yeah. And sometimes with Braids is probably one of the best but one of the hardest ones in my opinion because you cast it and you're the last one to benefit from everything because you have to wait one full turn rotation before you can use Braid's trigger where you can drop stuff down, drop it like it's hot.
And it's mono blue.
And it's mono blue.
A lot of the other benefits or beneficial cards that you could use in a group hug deck are limited by your color limitations.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why a lot of people tend to go with things like Feldogriff or Kendrick the Return King, which is the new one that came out from Throne of Eldraine. Because that was all 5 colors.
I think he's honestly one of the best group hug commanders ever printed.
He's so crazy. It's and the best thing is you don't have to tap him. You just pump mana into him.
Yeah.
And if you're playing group hug, like we said earlier, you're going to have lands that tap for 3 or 4 mana or something stupid. Who knows? But you're going to have a massive amount of lands. Okay. Or a massive amount of mana. And that actually leads into what we want to talk about next is the signature effects. Because in all group hug decks, or the majority of them, there are certain things that you kind of expect from it. So, like we said earlier, you tend to see one of the things is mana doubling cards. So, like Mana Flare, Dictate of Karametra, things where you tap you tap your land for a mana, and it produces an additional mana of most likely some other color or whatever color you choose,
or the color that it can generate.
Yeah, so you're adding a mana. You're like technically you're not doubling it because if you have 2 of these effects out, you're
adding it 1 additional.
Yeah, so 1 land tapped for 3, not 4. So many conversations occur because of that, because everyone's like, "Oh, it says double your mana." It's like, no, add.
It's 1 mana additional.
Yeah,
double from 1.
Double from 1. So if you have 1 effect, it's doubled. 2 of them, no, not so much. But you generate so much mana, it's
fast.
Crazy. And that's the thing. Like when you have that much mana to play with, it's like a commander's dream come true. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can start casting my 8 casting cost spells on turn 3 somehow. Okay.
Here comes that early Avacyn.
Yeah.
See, Dan and Hope love group hug. Okay, now I'll explain why later. But yes, mana doubling cards are there.
But I think, in all fairness, one of the reasons that I love group hug so much is because I tend to play very big decks with a very high CMC. I play dragons, I play dinosaurs, I play angels, I play big boys.
I like goblins, little guys, and when
I also play elves.
Yeah, elves get big fast though. That's different.
There's a low mana cost.
That's it. I'm going back to dwarves instead. They're short. They're low mana cost. It works. Anyways, one of the other signature effects is also allowing additional lands to come into play. So, and there's a bunch of cards like this. Like Temple Discovery is the most common that you'll see because, one person will play it and says like, okay, if you want, you can have each opponent choose to
go get a land.
And if they do, you get to grab an additional land. So you can grab up to 4 land in one shot if everyone grabs it. And if you're group hug, everyone's like, let's see, you grab more lands, I grab a land, and we're enabling the group hug deck more so we can get more lands or more mana or more card draw.
If they draw more lands, they're going to dump more things in that are going to help me, etc., etc.
There's a lot of times that dropping that Temple Discovery, people won't take it because they're afraid of, well, I'm not going to let them get 3 good lands. Mm-hmm. But in group hug, like you were saying, all the deck's point is to help you. So
it's very rare that people won't also go grab it. And that also, again, goes back to our previous point about the mana doubling. So if you're able to get all these extra lands and drop all them into play and then go ahead and add the additional lands, things can get crazy really quickly.
Yeah, and then there's other cards that help you out,
Rites of Flourishing.
Rites of Flourishing is one of the most common ones because it lets you drop an additional land per turn and you get to draw an extra card during your draw phase. So you're drawing 2 cards during your draw phase and you can put down up to 2 lands. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, now you're really, really pumping through the library. You're throwing down things. So this is one of the reasons why, for a group hug deck, they enable people like crazy because you're turning through their decks, going through the library, getting more cards. You're throwing down extra lands. People are casting big things.
They have all the mana and the cards to use it with.
It's like, we have limited resources? No. We have unlimited resources.
There are no limits in Group Hug Commander.
There are no limits.
The limit does not exist.
It's like, how many extra lives do you need?
That's exactly it.
And since we were talking about Rites of Flourishing and extra card draw, Group Hug decks also do extra card draw. Lo and behold. Oh boy. Yeah, so you have things like most common ones, Howling Mind. Kami of the Crescent Moon.
Temple Bell.
Yep.
Classics.
Horn of Greed. Horn of Greed is really, really good for this.
Love Horn of Greed, yeah.
Yeah, every time you drop a land, you draw a card. So, like, that was Chulang. Oh, boy. Yeah, so, but, like, Group Hug lets everybody draw, like, a ton of cards. And we're not talking about things like, you know, like, Windfall or like Wheel of Fortune where you're discarding and then drawing a bunch of cards. No. It's just flat out you draw more cards.
It's just a gift. There's no consequences with that.
There are consequences. You're giving everyone else like a chance to get answers. There are consequences.
There's no consequence for the opponent.
But I like to see the answers come online.
Me too. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to see everybody go crazy and just fight amongst themselves, like the Puppet Master.
But this is like,
we'll get there, Sherman.
Okay, and the fourth thing that for the signature effects of a group hug is just throwing things down for free. Drop it like it's hot. So the most... You know, we talked about Braze before, but the most famous one for this is Tempting Worm.
My faves.
Love them. Why?
Such a good card. You get a 5/5 at the cost of your opponent's putting in what, Sherman?
Anything they want.
Anything.
Like any permanent. Let's be clear here.
Yeah.
No
any
instances
permanent card.
Or sorceries or interrupts.
I think they can't do Planeswalkers as well. Group Hug be damned.
That's incredible.
I played a game where my friend Eddie threw down a Tempting Worm, and it just went crazy. Everyone just dropped a bunch of stuff, and then like someone was playing Aramatsu, and they dropped like was it that aura, the acidic thing? I can't remember, but like it has like a countdown, and then it destroys whatever. So, and then Aramatsu says like, you know, I'm going to return that, and she just started destroying my whole board. And I'm just like, I hate this. And then, you know, like I cast like a board wipe, and then, you know, throw in the Encore to get everything back. But then, you know, I got Tempting Worm at the same time. Then she cast something to, you know, get the Tempting Worm and board wipe. And then she got everything because she took my Thrilling Encore. It's just like why?
The Puppet Master. It's incredible. The group hug players just sitting back, just Mr. Burnsing their fingers. It's like, excellent.
Dance, my puppet, dance! But these are the effects of a group hug.
It's fun.
I'm going to explain to you why I'm not good at group hug at the end. Okay,
all right.
Let's keep going here.
I won't hold my breath.
Let's keep going here. So these are the signature effects, okay? But besides these things, there are other things to consider, okay? Because just because you're group hug doesn't mean you're okay with everything that's on the board. So other things you need to consider is still removal. And we're not talking about board wipes here. No. We need to be single target removal here. Okay, because like one card will destroy the plans of everyone. So if you want to police, or if you don't mind policing, you know, have a Beast Within or a Chaos Warp or something like that. Look for that one target which is disrupting everyone and be like, nope, gone. So famous things or like common things like Winter Orb or Stasis.
Yeah.
That does not help group hug.
Get that Crossing Grip in that deck.
Yeah. You know, like you have to have single target removal to target some of these things just in case people are going to drop it.
You want to keep the game fun. You want to keep the game moving. That's what your objective is as a group hug player, is to make the game go. And if somebody's halting it like that, you want to adjust a little bit.
Well, it's like, what's the point of playing group hug if you're playing against someone that plays a stacks deck? Like, okay, this was supposed to be like a 20-minute, 30-minute game, but thanks to Mr. Stacks here, it's an hour and a half. Group hug shut down. Yay! I am having so much fun. Not saying that Stacks decks aren't fun. They can be fun, but...
I'm saying they're not fun.
But you have a Stacks... You probably have like 10 Stacks decks, Dan.
No.
Really?
No, I have some counterspell ones, but I don't play any basically hard control ones. I don't own a single copy of Winter Orb.
And this is why we're still friends. But That's one of the things you have to consider in group hug, because you will enable people's decks. They're going to have some stuff that's going to shut down like basically the whole game. You want to make sure that you can remove it just in case no one else can, or else it's going to be a long game.
Yeah, you want to make sure that not one single person is benefiting from all your hugs.
Yeah. And just because your group hug doesn't mean that you can't dive into utility land cards. So things for yourself, Reliquary Tower.
Especially with all the draw that you're definitely going to be doing.
Yeah. A Maze of If is excellent because if someone's attacking someone else, you're like, I'll help you out. That 30-30? No. It deals no combat damage.
There's a flip Maze of Ith as well. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, a Thematic Compass.
Yeah, that's also a great one for this. Fetching your colors out and then having that remove combat.
Yeah. So yeah, you're thinning out your deck. You flip it. Maze of If, fantastic. It's great for politics. Great for making policing the board. So if someone comes in with an Omnath, and let's face it, we've all seen Omnath decks where they're like 200 and 200 with trample and haste and everything else. But if you
don't know what you're talking about.
I have 2 different Omnath decks. I'm just the green one.
Locus of Mana.
Yeah.
Or what?
Then we have Locus of Rage. And Hope wants to make the new one.
Oh, the
Omnath in the river.
Shut up.
But Maze of If is great for a group hug deck. Sure, it doesn't generate mana or anything, but you're helping other people not die. So that's a really, really good one. Field of Ruin is really good as well. Like, I know people are like, oh, but Field of Ruin destroys a land, like your group hug. Yeah, but you can destroy that one land that's causing trouble for everybody.
Group hug should be basically the fun police. You want to force everyone to have fun.
Force.
That's a great way to put it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes if somebody tempts with discoveries and grabs a guy's cradle, sometimes that guy cradles us to go.
Hey, but that's the thing. Like Field of Ruin, you can destroy whatever land. Everybody gets to fetch an additional land. And it's really, really good if someone's going crazy with a bunch of land, but someone else is mana short. Like if they kept a sketchy hand and they're just not getting the land draw. Fine, destroy the person that has the highest amount of land, so that person can join in the fun. That one extra land will help, especially if you're playing group hug. Because once again, they're tapping for 2, 3, 4 mana. Yeah, that one land goes a long way.
Yes, it does.
So, and on top of that, another thing to consider is different abilities that people can relate to or use or whatever.
Take advantage of as a team.
Yes. So Vala, Explorer Return, you have a parlay. You get the benefit of either gaining life or gaining extra mana, but everyone gets to draw a card. Mm-hmm. Tempting Offer, we talked about with Discovery. There's a bunch of cards that have joined forces, where like Minds Aglow, that's the most common one, where you put in an amount and everyone else can put in a certain amount of mana, and if everyone puts in like 20 mana, everyone's drawing 20 cards.
Yeah.
Which is stupid sometimes.
Which is insane.
But it's fantastic.
That's why you need that Reliquary Tower.
Yeah. Only you get the Reliquary Tower and no one else. There's Friends or Foe, where you can choose people to friend, foe. It's like, and the friends get a benefit and the foes have to do something that's not beneficial. So sometimes it's like, all the friends get to throw down a creature for free, while the foe has to sacrifice a creature, or something along those lines.
Although the friend or foe in that context could be beneficial, depending on what kind of deck they're playing. You could let 3 different players put a card onto the field, and somebody had to sacrifice it. But if you're playing like a Golgari deck, that might be beneficial, and you're still kind of being a friend.
That's true.
There are politics and layers to that for sure.
There's all sorts of things, and like one of the things that I didn't even consider until I thought about it now is just the political aspect, where, especially with Battle Bond, if you have assist.
Oh yeah.
It's like, hey,
assist,
like someone pitch in and you'll get this benefit as well. Okay, deal, yeah, all right, we're good. So these are other things you should try to consider when you're making a group hug deck, because these things are, once again, they're great politically. Just like, hey, if you do this, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Let's help each other out. But at the same time, don't keep on picking the same person, because if you do that, then the other
You're almost like you're playing with a team, you know?
Yeah, and that kind of brings down to fun.
It does, and it's one thing to consider when you're building a group hug deck is that you're not just building it for you. You can't just look at it, if I play this will happen, blah, blah, blah. These are the combos that work, and et cetera, et cetera. You need to think, if I play this, how are people going to react to that?
Yeah. So, like, with that, you know, you have these other things to consider, but we're going to move on here. And we're going to talk about group hugs, strength, and advantages. And then after that, we're going to talk about the weaknesses of a group hug. So the strength of a group hug, once again, is you will be less of a target than your opponents because you're an ally, in a sense.
They're going to want to keep you around as long as possible because they're benefiting from you being in the game.
Yeah. So if Daniel is the group hug deck, and he's letting me draw 4 cards a turn, why would I want to attack Daniel? He is giving me 4 cards a turn. Is my first opponent doing that? No. Is my second opponent doing that? No. He actually hit me for 10 damage, that jerk. I will attack the second player and the first one for good measure. But I'm going to leave Daniel alone because he gave me 4 cards a turn. Yeah. You know, on top of extra lands to drop down, extra mana I'm producing, Daniel's helping me out. So if he's playing a group hug deck, or if you're playing a group hug deck, there is a good chance I am going to leave you alone. Even if I have a free attack on you, and we all agree that chip damage is something that people need to do more often, I'm still not going to attack Daniel. Why? Well, let's go back. He's benefiting me. He is my ally indirectly. He is also an ally for everyone else. So I may be drawing the cards, I may be putting down a bunch of lands, but he's also letting everyone else to do that. So it's a race now where I need to bring them down before they bring me down.
Exactly. And you just leave the group, you just leave the group hug player to do their thing, and because the thought process is you kill everybody else, you can kill them whenever you want to, because they're not exactly building this big board state.
Most group hug decks aren't dropping a ton of dragons.
Maybe
That we know of. That we know of.
5-color group hug dragon.
Yeah.
You probably have something like that, don't you?
No.
I would.
We have an dragon.
You know I would.
Oh boy. But
Dota Dragon combo.
moving on. But you know, it comes down to the fact that, like, you know, if you were playing a group hug deck, most people will leave you alone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just the way it tends to be.
Comes with the territory.
Yeah, it really does. You don't need to worry about protecting your commander as much because, once again, most commanders for group hug tend to benefit everybody. Okay, so, like, you know, we were talking about Kendrick earlier. You know, you can give, like, all creatures trample and haste if need be. You can put a 1/1 counter on a target creature. Target player can gain 5 life, or they can draw. There's so many things, you know. If you can, people will negotiate with you, be like, hey, I need extra card draw. Can you give it to me? Like, well, why? Like, why should I do that? You destroyed my commander that would have done that for you. Don't destroy my stuff, and you'll get the benefits of it. And people will see that and be like, yeah, you're right. If I destroyed your commander or your enchantments or something like that, I don't get the benefits. So, you know, let's leave them untouched.
Kiss the ring of the king.
Oh, yeah. And
if you go after the group hug player, he can try help your opponents more than he helps you.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I see that a lot with braids. Because, once again, with braids, if you get her out, you have to wait that full rotation. And sometimes it just happens where braids just gets destroyed from a board wipe or something like that, just because the board gets so crazy because people are just dropping stuff down for free. Like if someone drops like an Eldrazi down for free because of braids. I'm looking at you, Hope, because you probably do that.
I've never done that.
Oh, heaven forbid, no. But, you know, people do that, and it's just like, okay, board wipe. I don't get my braids trigger. Fun. Why did I end up playing braids again? You know, it happens. And as a group hug deck, expect that to happen. You know, like, yes, you don't have to, you know, put in the lightning greaves or the swiftfoot boots or or stuff, anything like that. But your commander will die from time to time. It's just, it won't happen that often, because normally when that happens, it's a board wipe. But most people tend to leave your commander alone. Now, the third thing is you don't need to politic as much. If you're not into politics, this is fantastic, because you're just enabling everyone. You don't have to be like, I'm worried that I'm going to die here. I need to strike a deal with the strongest player or anything like that. People are going to negotiate with you.
Yeah, you playing is you striking a deal with everybody.
Yeah. So it's not common for you striking a deal with someone else saying like, hey, if you don't attack me, I'll do this for you. No. You're already helping everyone else. It's more like, hey, group hug guy or girl, whoever you identify as, or they, just in case you're non-binary. They'll be like, hey, group hug person, if this creature that's attacking me, I am in your debt. Okay? I will do whatever it takes to help you out. Just save my life right now.
When you need me, I'll be there.
Yeah. And that's what group hug tends to be. The person that is always there for you until they sneak up and stab you in the back at the very end. But until then, they are there for you. So, and because of that, politics are going to be less of a thing that you have to worry about in a group hug. People are going to politic with you. You don't have to start it. They will start it with you. So now you control the power. You have the power to decide people's fates.
Very accurate.
It's really scary sometimes when that's the case, though.
Yeah, it puts you in a very high position.
Yeah. And that sometimes can, turn the tables and have them attack you. But
mid to late game, yeah.
Yeah, mid to late game. But early on, like, you have the answers, you set up everyone, you're throwing things down, everyone's having fun, and that's all you really care about. Mm-hmm. Now, the third thing, and this is the thing that when I built the group hug deck, I abused a lot, is the fact that you tend to have a lot of mana to use. Mm-hmm. A lot of mana, okay? So, because of that, one of the things that a lot of people will do, and some people don't, and this is a friendly reminder, have cards that are mana sinks. So Kendrith is a perfect example of this. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people have considered Kendrith the Return King a great group hug deck or a commander. Okay, because you have so much mana that you can use. If you don't want to cast everything from your hand, you have a creature that can use up all the mana you want really, really quickly.
Yeah.
So, and
whether you use it for yourself or for developing some sort of alliance at the table.
Oh, yeah. And there's so many things you can do. It's like, hey, you want more cards? Done. Hey, you're almost dead. You need more life? Okay, sure. Here you go.
One of your creatures got put in the graveyard? I got you.
Don't do that for now, Drazi. Don't.
I would never.
Lies. Lies. Ugh, you people. You people make me sick. But mana sinks are definitely something that you should add to a group hug deck. And like I said, this is my biggest problem when I build a group hug deck. Because I tend to put in things like Ant Queen, where it's a low mana cost to pump in. You don't have to tap Ant Queen, so you can pump out a bunch of 1/1s like crazy. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, you have on person's end step, you produce 30 ants. Yeah. It's like, okay, my turn now. I have 30 ants. I can kill someone now.
Yeah, you have an army.
I have an army. Does anyone have anything that can give flash to board wipe? No. I will kill someone. And this is why people don't like playing group hug with me. This is one of the reasons why people don't like playing group hug with me. Because I don't play group hug. I play I play like that for the first 4 turns, and after that,
everything's out the window.
Yeah, it's all gone out the window. It does not matter. Okay.
You play group hug super aggressively.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna touch on this reasons why later on in the weaknesses and disadvantages and all that stuff. But for the strengths and advantages, these 4 things are among the biggest reasons why. You're less of a target. along with your board state. You don't need to worry about protecting your board state as much, or your commander.
Politics are in your favor.
Yeah. Politics aren't a big deal because people are going to be working with you to politic instead. And you have a metric ton of mana to
and nearly
use.
Unlimited resources for mana.
You don't even need to come up with combos for like unlimited mana. No, you just have so much mana.
I did it for you.
Yeah, I did it for you. I did it for everyone. I'm like a politician until I tax you all. So, but let's go on to the weaknesses now. Weaknesses and disadvantages of a group hug deck. Now, a lot of people are like, but there are no disadvantages. There are no weaknesses for a group hug deck. You're a group hug. You love everyone and they love you. No, there are weaknesses, okay? First, the most obvious one is you are enabling the opponent's decks, which could cause them to get out of hand.
And you're almost guaranteeing that they're going to get out of hand.
Yeah, and once again, this is where, like Daniel mentioned before, policing. You're the fun police.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, can you deal with the people going off, and if they go way too crazy, can you stop it, or can you back it off a bit so that everyone else has that equal chance to have their decks go off and play properly.
Yeah.
Or not properly, but just
play the way that they always envisioned it playing.
Yeah. They want to, like, you build a deck, you love seeing it go off, and that's what a group hug deck does, okay? But if it gets too out of hand, it's no longer fun sometimes, and that's part of the problem. And this is one reason why we mentioned earlier, under things to consider for removal, single target removal. Because when you're a group hug deck, you're going to have enchantments, you're going to have artifacts, things that enable everyone else. If you're going to throw in something like a Steer Command or a Merciless Eviction and be like, all enchantments are gone, you're affecting your own board state.
Exactly.
Okay. Single target removal is the way to go in a group hug, because it's not the whole board state that's affecting everyone. It's that one card.
Yeah, that's not the issue. You want things like you want a Path to Exile
or Beasts Within or something like that. Something that can deal with that one thing, like Swords to Plowshares, etc., etc.
Grasp of Fate is a really good one in a group hug.
Oh yeah, one like you said, Croson Grip, because the split seconds there. Return to Dust is great.
Oh yeah.
Anything where you can exile or like a single target removal. Once again, you're the fun police. You want everyone to have fun. You don't want someone having too much fun. Like how many drinks did you have? 10? Too much.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Have 5 instead.
Because I don't care where you go, but you can't stay here.
Yeah. Take me drunk, I'm home. So that's one of the things that you have to worry about, okay? And that is a big weakness for group hug. Remember, you're enabling everyone. You have to make sure you can kind of, pull it back, a little bit so everyone can go off as well. The next thing here is that some players don't like group hug decks and will... No. I'm different, okay? I don't like group hug decks, but some people that don't like group hug decks will target you first. Yeah. And the reason why, or the reason behind that is because a lot of people that fall in this category, they feel that you have no win condition. You're making it more difficult for them to win because you're letting everyone else draw into removal or answers. So they will try to take you out first just to make their life easier.
A lot of people feel like they put a lot of effort into their deck to gain those advantages. They built the card drawing. They built what to do with their life. And you're just giving that away to these weaker decks. And for them, it annoys them because they focus so hard on getting those advantages, and now everyone gets those advantages.
Yeah.
So someone might have built a really great ramp package into their deck, and you new frontiers and give the board 10 lands.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I agree with you 100%. And like for that person, it's no longer a 1v3. It's more like a 1v2.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's like playing Planes Chase. If you think about it, because Plane Chase gets crazy.
Yeah, it does.
like some of those games.
You're just adding a different element that's completely out of your. It's another player. We've discussed this before. Is that adding that sort of chaotic element is like adding a whole nother player that you can't talk to, you can't negotiate with, and it's just this element that can really mess with somebody's plans for the game.
Yeah, it throws a dynamic in a really chaotic loop here.
Yep.
So, and because of that, some people will target you first because they're like, okay,
they want to get things back to normal and classic Commander.
Yeah, because like Daniel said, like you already have the card draw, the life gain, everything. You're already set up in your deck, but this person's just giving it away for free.
Yeah, somebody that might not have considered to put that in a deck or not have even had the colors to really allow for those sorts of mechanics in their deck now just gets it when you built this deck that you spent all this time on developing all those different aspects.
And part of it too is like when you're playing a deck, when you're playing Commander, you're going to look for people's weaknesses. So if someone's not getting that one color, you're going to abuse that and be like, haha, I'm going to go attack you again and again and again because you can't drop anything of that color. Yeah. But here comes Group Hug saying, your lands can tap for any color. You're welcome.
Yeah.
No. Like, it happens. It really does. Like someone that is short of one color, and we've all been there, unless they're monocolor, then that's a different story. Yeah. But everyone's had those games before where you're just missing that one color, and everyone's attacking you because you have no defenses out, you can't do anything, you're basically out of the game, and you're trying to crawl back in. Group Hug's like, no, here, hold my beer. I got this for you. I totally got this. Okay, and next thing you know, you have like 10 lands that tap for any mana you want, and it's like, okay, now I don't have to worry about my color fixing.
And it totally changes the dynamic of the game.
Yeah, it changes everything, So that's another big weakness of a Group Hug deck. Okay, so, and like, it drives me crazy because like I'm the kind of person that when I'm playing Commander, I look for those weaknesses. If you don't have a defense up, if you don't have that colored mana, or you only have that one colored mana, I'm going to destroy. I'm going to go after you. I'm going to make you weak to the point where I really don't have to worry about you, and then I can switch my focus to someone that's stronger, Like, I don't want to give you that chance to come back. I am that kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
But not that bad of a jerk, because I play like 5-6 power decks, okay? So it's like, if I was playing on an 8 power deck, that's different. It's like, I'll leave you alone. I'll go for the bigger threat. But when I'm playing like a 5 or 6, power level power deck, I need to find every single advantage I can in order to
run with it.
Yeah, and run with it. So if you're short a land, or you're mana short, or you're short a color, or you have no creatures, I'm going to go after you because one less person I have to worry about means less answers I have to deal with.
And it means I'm one step closer to winning that game.
Yeah, hence why, another reason I don't care much for Group Hug, but I can totally understand why people love Group Hug at the same time, because your decks go off. Yeah, okay, fun. For a deck that's like a power level 5 or 6, going off is like, because you're not throwing in those really, really powerful cards. You don't care for it. Like my book tribal deck. Okay, I don't really go off on that deck because there's nothing to really go off of. Okay, it's just lots of books, a lot of Thopters, a lot of wizards, all that stuff. They don't really go off. Group Hug doesn't really help me. But with with my book tribal deck, I have to look for every single advantage I can take to take people down.
Yep.
So, and Group Hug just enables everyone else. So that advantage I had is now gone.
Yeah, it's moot.
Yeah. So when I see stuff like that, I will go after the Group Hug deck first. You're weak. You're you're Group Hug and everybody loves you, but not me.
Yeah, because exactly like you said, like you're making the chances that you had and the opportunities that you would have had, they're sort of they dissipate as soon as everybody else is able to start getting their decks going real quick, real fast, really aggressive.
Yeah. And this leads into like a thing that I want to talk about here, or we all want to talk about here, and it is mistakes group hug players make. Okay? And we're not talking about like missed triggers or anything like that. No. So we're talking about like other things that actually affect the game. Yeah. So one thing is giving a player too much of an advantage. So one of the examples we have here is Fact or Fiction. So Fact or Fiction, if you don't know, is a spell where you draw, or is it draw or just look at the top 5 cards?
Reveal.
I think it's just look.
Yeah.
I think you reveal the top 5 to one player, and they separate into 2 piles. You choose one of the piles.
Yeah. So if the typical thing I see for a group hug player is they're always chosen for this, because they're like, your group hug, you're gonna put all 5 in one pile and nothing in the second pile. And granted, most group hug players do this. I am asking you not to do this, okay? You may be a group hug deck, but it doesn't mean you're just giving them like all this value for no reason. Yeah. Once again, you're the fun police. If you're doing this, you're giving a huge advantage for that one player. You're not making it even.
That's not a group hug. That's just a hug.
Yeah. You're tipping the scales so dramatically. It's crazy. Now, if the person was like didn't have any lands or is like at 4 life or whatever, and has no defense, fine, do it, okay. But if it's like your typical game where it's none of these things, the person's like has a fairly good board state and all that stuff, and
3 and 2, it's still a gift.
3, heck, like it did, like even if you gave like 1 land in each, and then like a creature 1 and 2 powerful things in there, like make it difficult for the person to
give
select.
Them a balance still. Yeah. But they still get an extra card. They still get a couple things that they can play around with. You already gave them the mana to play the cards.
Yeah.
Like they're still not losing in that situation.
Yeah, it's like, let's look at it this way, okay? Fact or Fiction or something of things along those lines, it's like extra card draw. You're literally giving them 5 extra cards to draw, okay? Are you doing that for everyone else? No, everyone else is drawing in an extra 1 or 2 cards. Okay, this person already had that 1 or 2 extra cards. Now they're drawing an extra 5. So we're looking at a whole fresh new hand here.
Yeah. Well, and that's not how the card is supposed to be played, right? If there was a blue card that for 3 mana drew you 5 cards, it would be a broken power level card that's run in every deck.
Yeah. And that's the problem I have with this. It's like, yes, you're a group hug, but things like Fact or Fiction, where you have to like separate into piles and say like, here, pick this or pick that, whatever. Don't do that, okay? Now, if we're playing like Arch Enemy, okay, and one person is so powerful that one of your opponents like, yo, we like, here you pick, and you just drop all 5 there, so you can answer that one player. Then, okay. I can totally understand. I'm totally fine with that.
But that's such a different situation.
That is way different. Like your group hug is not arch enemy. You're not the enemy.
And at the end of the day as well, the other thing to consider is that yes, you have a less chance of winning, and yes, you're trying to be a friend to everybody, but at the end of the day, there's still strategy, and you still have the opportunity to win the game. So tipping the scales like that is not in your favor or the table's favor.
Yeah. And that goes for any other card where it can, you can dramatically tip the scale. So it doesn't matter. Just, you're the fun police. You may be a group hug, but you're also the fun police. You want to kind of spread the love evenly, okay? So, and that's one of the mistakes that most group hug players do.
But that there really leads into something else that we want to talk about, which was that a lot of group hug players don't necessarily go for the win.
Yeah, and like this is one of the reasons why I don't play group hugs, because I will always go for the win, but that's That's very, very true. A lot of group hug players just don't go for the win.
Yeah, they don't look at their group hug decks as having a win con. They don't even consider being the winner. They expect to come in second.
Yeah, there's so many ways for a group hug deck to win. So
I know.
Yeah, so like for me, like I always did buy tokens. Like building a bunch of tokens, going for the going wide and anything. You have so much card draw. You can throw in Lab Maniac.
And you have so much mana. Like what I did recently, actually, was once I had tons of mana, I played Approach of the Second Sun, then Genesis Waved for 7, for 6, for 6, 7, 6, 6, and then Temple Bell to draw, play the Second Sun again. Just like that, you win.
Why? Well, I've lost to that before, so I can't say. Yeah. But like it's true though. Like there are other ways of winning. Like you can go military, you can go for Second Sun. There's all sorts of things. Like you can like mill someone out if you really felt like it. You can you can go to Google and type out group hug combo win decks or win cons. Yeah, there's so many different win cons you can do, but have those win cons in. Okay.
Just keep them in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Let everybody do their thing. Like I said, let them fight amongst themselves, and then you can come out from behind, just casually sitting over there in the corner and bring out your win condition, and nobody expects it.
Yeah, because like the way when I play against people that have group hug decks, if I know they have win conditions, I am perfectly fine with playing against them. I'm fine with them bringing out the deck. We all sit down, we all play and everything.
Well, because if not, they're just chaos. They're just adding an element of chaos to the game, and they're not really. I wouldn't really consider them an active player.
Yeah,
in the most traditional.
They're kind of like a planes chase deck.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that goes back to the disadvantages and weaknesses. Some players, like myself, don't like group hug decks because that's all they do. It's just chaos. Like if you don't have a win con, you're not an opponent for me. I don't care. You're making it way more difficult than it should be for me to try to play and win. The board states gets crazy. I have to calculate way more.
When everybody's just doing crazy things that they never would have been doing, which can be very fun. But like you said, if the group hug player doesn't have a point to the deck, if the point is just everybody goes crazy and draw your whole deck, like
my group hug deck has 2 very frustrating points. Number 1 is Divine Intervention, which just forces the game to end in a draw if no one can deal with it. And the other is using Fascination, because you can make each player draw X cards or mill X cards. Mm-hmm. And I just full deck mill everyone in Temple Bell so everyone loses simultaneously.
See, and that's the thing. I'm fine with that.
That's a chaotic loss. I'm okay with that.
I'm perfectly fine with that because you still have like an end game goal. You still have.
You're not just sitting there with 30 mana on deck, twirling your thumbs. Yeah. Okay, pass.
Yeah, that's very on theme for group hug. Like it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, but like that drives me nuts about some people with group hug decks. Just because they're group hug and you're trying to spread the love
doesn't mean you're not a player.
Yeah,
doesn't mean you're not still competing.
Yeah, you should compete. You should contribute. You should try to go for the win still, or else. Like you're not a threat to me. Mm-mm. You're making it worse, like the board state worse. You're enabling me, but you're enabling everyone else, right? And once again, like Daniel said before, sometimes your decks are already made to have that card advantage or whatever. And if you're giving it out for free, I need to stop that. I need to turn off the tap.
Yeah.
It's
very much about balance.
Well, if you think about it, let's say there's group hug 2 angel decks on the table. One angel deck packed more big creatures in it than the other, and the other packed the right ways to ramp to it. The one who didn't build properly is going to get a better advantage out of the group hug deck. They're going to have more of these big, huge flyers available, even though they wouldn't have been able to cast them in a normal game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's especially like the ones I was playing against. Well, this is more than once actually. There's been a few times where I played and someone had a group hug deck and someone else had a Super Friends deck. And that gets crazy. None of us could do anything about that, especially the group hug deck.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, well, whatever, he got to go off. Like, yeah, but it's not fun for the other 2 players because it's just like all of our resources can't deal with 6 different planeswalkers saying like that one's tapped, that one's exiled, that one you need to sacrifice this, discard your hand, Like it gets really, really, really out of control. And if the group hug player is not policing that, it's not everyone's having fun. No, it's only one person having fun.
And that's not a group hug. Like we said before, that's not a group hug. That's just a hug. So group hug is very much about balance. It's very much about kind of keeping the game at a high level of fun, but for everybody.
Yeah, and it's a tough balance. I totally understand it because you don't know what your opponent's going to play.
No.
you never do unless you play with the same friends and the same decks and everything. But
I know what deck it is by looking at the sleeves.
Yeah. But overall, though, that's one of my pet peeves when it comes to group hug decks. You know, if you have a win condition, I'm perfectly fine with playing against you. If you don't have win conditions or any win conditions at all, you're not my number one target. Right?
Yeah.
And that leads into
get out of my house.
Yeah, get out of here. And that leads into another thing that mistake that group hug players make, and that is that they tend not to attack or be mean. Like, you have creatures, someone has no creatures, you're going to attack them, okay? You're going to put in the chip damage, you're going to get rid of that one thing that is disrupting the whole game. You have to be mean sometimes. Yeah. It's just the way it is. If someone throws down a winter orb and they're like, haha, no, destroy it, get rid of it, do something. If someone has an Avacyn out and everything's indestructible, exile it, make them suffer because they can rebuild. Okay, you can help them rebuild, be faster, stronger, more intelligent, grow hair in weird places. Who knows? Okay,
the $6 million angel deck.
Yeah, but but you have to be mean sometimes. Yeah. You have to pull the trigger.
But that's about the balance, though. Yeah. Or you could Chaos Warp Avacyn and then I could draw it again. But
I Chaos Warp.
I've had that happen before, and I was so disappointed.
Chaos Warp something into the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. We had someone else cut it and everything outside of the game and all that stuff, shuffled it, and then flipped it, and it's the same freaking card.
I don't think I've ever laughed harder.
She had a board wipe on the stack with Avacyn, so I went to Chaos Warp it, and then Avacyn came back out with the Chaos Warp. She's still kind of staying indestructible.
It happens, statistically speaking. It does happen.
But she is the angel of you.
But you have to do that. If you're a group hug deck, you have to do that.
That's still the move that you have to make.
Yeah.
Because then I can't do that. I can't have a board wipe on the stack with Avacyn on the field because that just makes it I kill everyone while they try to rebuild game, and that's just not a fun game.
And let's face it,
it's fun for me.
Yeah. But most group hug decks, yes, you want to enable other decks. You want to see them go off. But at the same time, the way I try to build a group hug deck, my original thinking, and I think a lot of there are going to be people who agree with me, is that with a group hug deck, you're trying to make the game go quicker. Okay, you want to speed through because it's there's an hour and a half left. We can either have one long game or two quick games. Yeah. Okay. Everyone play the most strongest deck. Someone play group hug. Mm-hmm. Just enable everyone, punch it through. Boom. Yeah. That's done. Game one. Let's get on game two.
Yeah, you're banging out a dragon deck on turn 6.
Yeah. And you want to do stuff like that constantly, where you speed along, and because of that, sometimes you have to be mean. You have to put in the chip damage. You're helping everyone else out with that one opponent.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing that we also kind of forgot to mention a little bit is that a group hug can really make it so that you're not the target and stuff. Not everyone's happy after your 5-color sliver deck has double struck the table for 600. Not everyone enjoys that kind of thing. Yeah. So sometimes maybe it is just time to just play a more fun deck, let everyone else get out and everything. Sure, maybe you have these really competitive decks, but the whole point isn't just to come out and show everyone how much money you can spend and how you can beat all your friends.
You don't need to win every single game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Once again, when everybody loves to win, you feel great when your deck goes off and whatnot. But
if you're winning every single game, then people aren't going to want to play with you.
Yeah. So, like, like I said, with group hug, I'm bad for that. My original group hug deck, I used Selvala, the Explorer Return, where I'm just letting everyone draw cards and everything, and then I'll just be a jerk where I have a lot of mana. I just put it into mana sinks and everything, produce a bunch of tokens, or have so much mana I'm just like Blue Sun Zenith, or not Blue Sun Zenith, but I have you draw a crap load of cards.
Yeah.
And just mill you out. I'm like, ha 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 ha. And yeah, I ended up, taking apart my group hug deck because it was a group hug, technically speaking, but once again, I go for the win.
Yeah, and I feel like group hug doesn't really suit your playstyle.
Like it can, but like I like doing janky things.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make a group hug Seinfeld deck. Who knows?
Love that.
So
group hug jank, that's right up my alley.
Which will still have win conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was the problem I had with Alila.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about that last week, and when I first made it, I had so many ideas, and I think I had 13 win conditions in it, and I'm like, no, we need to scale that back because the more win conditions I have, the more diluted it gets. It's not focused. But it's just crazy. I just had to tone it back. I had another deck before with Tashar where it would combo off and everything, but like all my cards, like one card could combo off of another 6 cards in the deck. And that's for each of them. So no matter whatever combination I had, it could combo off and I could win on turn 5.
Yeah.
It's like, take apart, too powerful, don't want it, So, but that's just the way it is sometimes.
Yeah. We're very much like that in our play group as well. We, excuse me. Like, even there's sometimes where we're playing something, we have super powerful cards in hand, but we just won't play them because it's not fun,
Yeah. So, but it's when it comes to group hug, I stopped doing that. Like maybe one day I'll make another group hug. Who knows? If I do, I'll share it to you guys. You guys will see it. Like I like that jankier stuff now, like my songs deck, my books deck, my StarCraft, like all that stuff. I like doing that stuff more. Like my more powerful deck is like crazy power, like probably like a power level like 7.5 or an 8. And like I had to tone it down, so now it's like a 6.5 to a 7. But I'm gonna ramp it back up because we have a arms race going on again in my little play group.
It gets that way sometimes.
Yeah, you just had that happen.
Yeah, like that's why I created jank decks because the power. Like we'll talk about this in another episode, but how to lower the arms race. But you know how it is. Everyone starts spending more money and getting more powerful cards and anything, and sometimes it just does get funded. And I lowered it by playing a lot of janky decks, but now it's rising back up and. Like I'm like, okay, I'm tired of being like, down on from time to time. I want to throw in the occasional powerful deck and everything. And once again, I'm not doing group hug. Even though every time I make a group hug deck, it somehow for some reason it becomes an 8. And so, but I think that's all the time what we have for today.
Yeah, you guys should let us know if you like group hug decks.
No, they don't.
But let us know on the Instagram. Do you like group hug? And if you play group hug, what do you put in? What are your favorite group hug cards to deal with?
Who are your favorite group hug commanders?
Or don't play group hug.
Until next time, guys, thank you from all of us.
Bye.
Take care.